and start.
Okay, so welcome everybody, WPL week 8. So glad to see all of your smiling faces. I spent like 5 hours in the car today, and I listened to way too many Glennon Doyle podcasts. So just to kick off this meeting, I want to tell all of you how much I appreciate you and like how much I appreciate this space and what we kind of agreed on at the beginning. I really feel like we're achieving that. I love the conversation. I love the way the calls are going. I like that everybody has space to talk. And I hope everybody feels the same. The feedback is looking pretty good. And I just want you guys to know how much I appreciate that. So thank you.
Thank you for saying that.
Yeah. If anybody has anything they want to tag on, be my guest. If not, let's get it kicked off. Week 8 results, only 2 matches, 21-48 for Andrew's match and 86-15 for Marty's. A lot of running. If we look at the standings, we can kind of see where the teams are falling out. We got Berkeley with 26 points, New York with 33, and they're both leading the way there. Harlequins and North Shore at the bottom, and they'll match up this week. Same with Orsu and the Zons, who match up later this week. So that's where it is. And we can just get right to it. Andrew or Marty, who wants to go first?
I could chat, yeah, for sure.
Marty? Okay. Find. Let me find you. There we go. Be my guest.
Great, yeah. Hey everyone, this is Marty. Super fast one last weekend. It was hot, it was sticky, it was humid. Plenty of handling errors, but all in all, a good day of rugby. There was an issue with a trainer showing up, so we had to push back kickoff time, but luckily I'm a local to Randall's Island, so it did not affect travel plans. So that was fine. Yeah, it was definitely a fun one. New York is a very strong team. The first thing, my season-long goal is definitely a set piece comfortability and consistency, and I was pretty content with the scrums on Sunday, which was nice, and New York's line speed was also very fast, so I felt like they knew when they wanted to pick my pocket if I was spending too much time in the breakdown. I only felt iffy about it in the moment twice, and I felt the film agreed with my gut for most of the match regarding that space there at breakdown time. Yeah, that's my 2 cents. Roz, if you have anything to add, please. Awesome. Yeah, so we could hop into the clips. Yeah, we could start with the delaying the bind. So like I just mentioned, scrum consistency and comfortability has been a big piece of my season-long goals. And here we see both of the props on the side closer to the camera. So white loose head and gold tight head are about, they both bind significantly after the other side, of the far side from the camera binds. And my question to the group is there an advantage to being the last prop to bind? Is there any? So I call this one out and I blow it up and I say when I want to bind, you guys should bind, or you prop should bind. And yeah, so that you see the delay here. I don't know if there's any. Open that up, and then this one also turns into a scrum penalty that we could chat about as well. But before we get there, I want to hear thoughts, or if anybody has thoughts about delaying the binding. So. Yeah. And then I saw, yeah, white fold there and then gold lose the bind because the white fold. And yeah. If anybody has any comments on any piece of that.
So you're saying you reset it because they didn't get their bind up. Is that what you're saying?
Correct. And it was both on the same side and it was just significantly after the other props bound. So I don't,
So they're trying to vie for position, and that sometimes is a delay. Let me tell you what I like about what you did here is that you're setting the standard. You're setting you want to get what you want, and you are using that reset to get it. Hey, when I say bind, I want you to bind, and you're doing that, and I love that, right? Because this is what I want, and this is what these are my expectations, and you're clearly setting that. I absolutely. I'm okay with that 100%. I don't know if anybody else has anything. Yeah, some props do that. Some people like to get it up later, right? Because they can reposition, and sometimes they slap it over top or they adjust. No, I think binding when you say bind is important because in the match that I watched, we had actually had a discussion, whereas then you can actually see is there an issue with the bind? Is it not high enough? Is it not long enough? If it allows you to manage the scrum as a whole better, right? So I totally agree.
Thank you.
Regarding the question about delaying the bind, I actually contacted Jamie Burke earlier just to run it by her, and she said no. What they're teaching is just like Rob had told us on the first call, is to win the bind. So whoever gets their bind the first has the stronger position. So that is that.
Great. That was my understanding of it based on that conversation as well. I just didn't know if there was another piece of the dark arts that we talk about. So
yeah, you never know. That's why I texted Jamie. Things change. So, and then the discussion about gold winning the penalty here. So I don't know what everybody else is seeing, but to me, the gold prop looks overextended.
And one of the things I've been coached to look for when it's kind of going in and down is where the elbows are. And if both elbows are down, it's often the tight head. And if one elbow is down, it is the loose head. I don't know if that's enough of a data point to suggest I should have gone the other way, but that's one of the things that flagged for me.
And that's based on whose arm is on the outside there? Is that the thought process behind that? I've never actually heard that myself.
Yeah, if the loose head goes under and is pulling it down, the tight head can keep their elbow up. If the tight head is pulling it down, the loose head can't keep their elbow up. It goes with.
Okay.
I would be interested to know what someone says, because to me, it looks like the white loose head goes down, and that's why Orsu lost the bind. And if I'm seeing that wrong, I would really be glad to know that.
That's what I was seeing, Rose.
And in the moment I saw the white loose head go down, I didn't even see the gold drop the bind, but on the film, you see the bind go as well. Just based on my positioning on the other side of the scrum.
Hey, Marty, it's Andrew. I kind of see both arguments here, to be totally honest. I see Amanda's argument if you watch the feet, especially right now where it is on screen, of Orsu. You don't have that nice 90-degree angle of that Orsu prop's knees. Their knees are past that, or they're obtuse. And I think that the bind from New York certainly doesn't help keep things up there. I think obviously the New York loose head's elbow pulls down almost immediately. But I don't think that Oregon did themselves any favors with the way that their legs were positioned. I think I'm happy with the way that you called it. Is this the first scrum of the game?
It is, yes.
To be honest, I kind of would prefer almost a reset and just a swap sides rather than, unless there was like something clear on your side, that like someone was clearly to ground on your side. That's a bit of a tough sell in my mind. Of on the far side, someone's gone to ground. It looks like you're close to one touch line. That's a call from maybe an AR on the far side. That just looks like a hard sell. I personally probably would have reset this and moved to that side to watch these two, you know.
Maybe after the first reset, since it was reset because of that side anyway.
Yeah.
Restarted.
Yep.
Yeah. It does. Yeah, what I'm seeing is, I think the white shoulders go down before the Orsu shoulders go down. And then the white's butt is really high. I mean, I think that's a body picture on her part.
And it's hard to tell from this, Peter, whether or not she's angled in a little. I again, from the video, but I do agree with your assessment there.
I'm seeing her shoulders, are almost below hips, just on the set.
Yeah.
There they definitely are.
Marty, I think the conclusion is, I think it's a good idea. I think the fact that you blew a penalty there is perfect. You then go to the other side, the next scrum, and sort it out. Because now at least one prop is on high alert for, I can't do whatever I did again. And if the scrum goes down again, that's because now Orsu is most likely going to be the one overextending. So I think from a management side, I think that's totally okay, because otherwise you're going to have props playing mind games with you all day.
Okay, lots of good stuff there. Marty, anything else on that one, or are you ready to move?
No, thank you all. I thought that was a good conversation. Some
Perfect.
really good talking points. Yeah. And then this is the second one. So this is a long arm transfer / materiality. I felt in my, as we see the line out go, there is a transfer, but there's no real maul here. And then I was okay because they ran away from it, and it was sort of, passed back and sort of long arm transferred. So yeah.
I'll just go ahead and answer this. I would say this is pretty much a nothing. So the long arm transfer is only an issue. It's a trigger, I guess, for us to look for obstruction at the maul formation. So we don't really have anything in this beyond, oh, I saw the arm.
No, that's good answer, Amanda. She just wanted to get the ball away from the line out as fast as possible.
Yep.
Yeah, I think this one was my fault, because I really wanted to know, do we care about that? Because they didn't form a wall, but then is there obstruction in the way that they form? Like, it did go away. I just wanted to know, how important is this? For me, long arm transfer already is a little questionable sometimes. Like, why do we care?
Yeah, we only care because it is a trigger for us to recognize there may be obstruction.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yes. So that's why I'm looking at this. I'm like, well, are we obstructing if the ball comes right out? We're okay with it?
Yeah, I mean, man, if you run that again.
I mean, nothing happens from it.
No,
I just
no,
really
but
want to know how
Roz, just, you watch it. If the white player who got the ball had instead driven back in to continue the maul, that would have been the obstruction, rather than turning and passing. If she had gone straight in, like she wanted to be part of that maul, that was where the problem would have come.
totally agree with that. I totally agree with what you're saying. And then the thing is, it was a screen. So I was just saying this is my fault, because I'm just trying to understand why we do that.
If you're trying to understand it, lots of other people are too.
Yes, exactly.
So
So
that's the
this
kind
is
of thing you
okay.
want to discuss.
This is okay. This is sort of midfield, a little obstruction-y, but we're only going to worry about this if there's a maul. Got it.
Cool.
And those are my clips. So thank you. everyone.
Awesome. Thank you. All right, Andrew.
All right. Hey, y'all. Good to see everybody. Happy Thursday. I had the Berkeley All Blues versus Life West, which I know a few people, myself included, were very much looking forward to how this game was going to turn out. Going into it, as kind of with all season, my biggest focus has really been to try and limit decisions, especially around the tackle area, and try and manage my way through things to make sure that I can continue to get quick ball kind of all game long. And I think that we definitely accomplished that goal. We had quick ball most of the day. There wasn't as much contest around the ruck area as I expected, and players were pretty responsive. Overall, the biggest factor on the day was definitely scrums. As you can see, we had a 55% ball out. That was mainly because the All Blues had extreme scrum domination throughout the entire day. That's something that they told me pre-match that they were going to try and do was exert dominance there as well as in their mauls, and they were definitely able to do that. So I've got one or two clips, I think, about scrum management and kind of how to think about that, that we can get to in a little bit. But yeah, 48-21 was a pretty good result, especially considering Life West was down 7 players, 4 for personal reasons, 3 are on USA duty out in New Zealand right now. And kind of any way you slice it, 7 players is either almost your entire bench rotation or half your starters. So I think on the day, given that they put up a phenomenal performance, and it was all in all a very fun game, I would say. So we can hop into the clips. Bob, I don't know if you have anything to add on this front.
No, that was perfect.
All right, cool. Let's first start off with the foul play, one. So this is something candidly that I missed on the day. You'll notice the biggest thing is we didn't have any lines on the field. And what ended up happening in this is there's going to be a tackle on the number 15 from Life West, who's about middle of your screen. And I had a call in over the radio that there was a foot in touch from this breakaway. And instead of it just being touch, which I can blow my whistle and keep my eyes on, I just heard my first name repeatedly, which to me is kind of a trigger of, I need to look at this right now. So we're going to watch a tackle happen by the number 12 with the taped knee. And I'm curious to see kind of everyone's thoughts and reactions to this one.
Perfectly timed as you turn your head.
Oh, yeah.
All right, what do people think about this contact? Everybody shy tonight?
I'll tell you, I personally, when I saw this on film review, almost immediately thought red card, just given height of the tackle and kind of the whiplash to the player's head. But I think slowing this down, it looks like the number 12 for Berkeley makes contact with the ball first, high to be sure, and then it slips up, and I guess would then be indirect contact. So I think on review, this is probably a yellow card. Curious if anyone sees anything differently.
This is Emily. I'm seeing what you're seeing, Andrew. And I actually didn't see the initial contact with the ball until you pointed that out. But I can see that now on the replay. Yes, so given that, I would also be, I mean, I would agree with saying indirect contact.
Anybody not happy with yellow card? Okay.
All right. Cool. I thought that was just a good one for everyone to see, maybe get some repetition because we really haven't had too much foul play. So just good to see that, especially moving into these last couple of weeks. For the next one, let's do the advantage one. So for context, this is like first minute and a half, 2 minutes of the game. The All Blues had just been put into touch by a really great line defense by Life West. There's going to be a knock on in the line out, and then a kick for territory. And I'm curious if anyone I personally said advantage over, and I'm curious if anyone would do something differently here. So there's your knock on. And from there, they pretty much almost immediately score a try. I probably should have clipped that longer, but.
Anybody have thoughts?
Hey, this is Jenny. I'm inclined to say that there's no advantage gained because of the position of the kick, and that's probably not what they wanted to do, putting it in the middle of the field like that. So because of that, the outcome of the kick and where it was placed, I probably would have thought about calling that back and giving them a cleaner platform.
Yeah. They're under pressure. There's 2 phases, but quick tackles at both. And then the kick, I guess you can say the kick was not under pressure. She kind of has space for that. But then if I'm having to say she kind of has space for it, then maybe she just doesn't, and you just give the scrum. Anybody agree or disagree?
She didn't have a whole lot of options because the defense
Yeah.
was up very fast on everybody outside of her.
That's a good way to say it or frame it.
So that wasn't a choice. When she comes up with the ball and look where, they're all going to get tackled well behind the gain line.
They're not just in the 22. They're literally close.
Yeah,
to
they're on the goal line.
Yeah, by the time she kicks it, now that I see the goalpost when they come into frame.
Yeah, they're on the goal line. And the previous phases before that, when Life had the ball, they're literally passing it like 8 times, and they're gaining 0 ground against that New York defense. So that was their best option, was to try to kick it away. But I understood why, he said gained at that point. But I like the sentence, not a lot of options. So.
Andrew, this is Jamie here. Just, I think the fact that you clipped this means you know the right answer, right? Which is you watched back and went, balls landed straight down the throat of someone in the middle of the pitch on the 22. Probably no advantage there. So I think good instinct to look at it, clip it, and know what you would have done differently, I think.
Sure. Yeah.
Also,
Okay.
comment that they had not yet had a scrum in this game, so Andrew didn't really have context to know, whether or not having a scrum would be better, make them in a better position.
I think that's a great point, Peter, because could there be a match where that is actually advantage over? I can imagine a game in which that is advantage
Later
over.
in this match.
I mean, having looked at other scrums in this match, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's
And
There you go.
discussion.
that's all he had to go on. He had to go on 3-4 phases of play by Life where they got nowhere, right? There are no scrums to this point, so that you can't judge on that. All you have them is you have them at the goal line, not getting anywhere, and so the option was to kick it away, and kicked it, pretty good kick away, but unfortunately went right to that one player, and then she went towards the side and ended up scoring. So yeah, that's all good points.
Bob, is that the parallel universe we're living in where in another game, Andrew gives the scrum and there's a demolished scrum and they score a try straight
Anyway.
from their number 8 and everyone goes, geez, you could have played, you could have let them
Yeah,
kick the
you
ball
could have
away.
played.
So yeah, damned if you do, damned if you don't. Is that
Yeah, I think I was hosed either way here, unless she had made the kick to touch, in which case I think we could all agree that that's probably advantage over there with a territory gain.
Agree.
Yeah, that's a good point, Andrew. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Well, this third and last clip, this is pretty indicative of the picture I was seeing all day. The All Blues are just going to out muscle Life West like it's nobody's business here. And to Life West's credit, they were able to swap their forwards around mid-game pretty effectively. The first 2 scrums of the first half and then the first 2 scrums of the second half both ended up being penalties, and they swapped their props for some of their second rowers who also had experience, and they fixed their issues moderately well, I would say. But the discussion that Bob and I had was essentially at some point, is there more that we should be doing, can be doing in order to make sure that things are safe? Because obviously we want to reward a team for being dominant and legal, which All Blues were pretty much the entirety of the day outside of maybe 1 or 2 instances. And I personally on the day told them after their second scrum penalty, I told the captain, I said, look, I understand that you guys are trying to apply pressure. You're clearly dominant here. I'm happy to reward you, but you have to be the ones in charge of safety because you're so dominant here. You need to show me that safe picture, and then I'm happy to reward you. But I'm curious from the group if anyone's had situations like this where they've found either a management technique or something like that that's helped them get a better outcome rather than just, penalties or messy ball or resets.
I mean, this is kind of I've only used it a couple times, but there have been moments when I have told the dominated team, like, look, at the speed you're doing it, and it's causing, like, I'm worried that there's gonna be injuries. So, I've never had to do this, but if you keep doing this and it's creating a dangerous situation, I will blow it up and against you. Like it's a threat, right? I mean, but I've only used it a couple times and it worked. So it's kind of the last tool in your tool belt, but it's an idea.
Can I ask a question on this one? Is everyone happy with the blue loose head?
No.
No. Just check in, because this is one where
No, I think she need corrected a couple of times in the game. I think Blue needed to be told to drive straight.
right. Okay.
Well, to follow on sort of Andrew's question, you're saying, you tell them they need to be clean, they need to give you the safe picture. Maybe you can be more specific about what you want in order for that picture to look safe.
Yeah, because here, I mean, they get rewarded for
turning it.
Yep.
I was trying to remind about when you see a team going backwards at a 45, right? It's usually something binding in. And in that case, and the fact that New York had absolute domination, they controlled what and where that scrum went.
That's Berkeley, not New York.
I'm sorry, I apologize, Berkeley. Yeah.
Further discussion on this?
Yeah, one question about scrum management for for this clip and maybe the first one that we saw, we've had players that are binding basically on the shoulder or on the outside of the shirt. How much do we want to manage where binds are versus letting the players bind, seeing the outcome, and then penalizing or managing after?
I don't know that there's a one size fits all answer for that. If you think that the position of the bind on the shoulder, like if they're cranking or torquing or pushing down on the shoulder, then it's a problem and you need to correct it. But whether you do it at this scrum or the next one, I mean, it's all dependent, right? On who put it in, who took it down, what the picture is. That's a terrible answer. I'm sorry.
No, I think it's a great question. We actually had a lot of discussion on this because we noticed in a lot of the binds on some of the ones, if the bind is in an area where they're trying to bind on the side of the body instead of up and it keeps slipping or something keeps going down, obviously it's not working and it needs to be managed, right? If they're binding and you're thinking, oh, maybe it's not, but you have steady, safe, great scrums, you know what? They're able to control it and they're managing it. And I don't think it needs to be you. So, and I think where Amanda was trying to go with it is when the management needs to be stepped in, when you need to step in and correct it because things are going awry, right? One of the areas you can look at is maybe that binding is not working, or maybe it's too short, maybe it's too long, maybe they're not gripping, maybe they're, and then you can, it's, you play it out that way.
Is that it?
Those were the three that I had.
Awesome. Okay. Thank you both. Appreciate that. So just my notes from this week, when I watched those two games, kind of came up with the same conclusion that at the scrums, we need to make sure there aren't angles when we call set, and also that we hold the stronger side accountable. So like we just saw in that Berkeley clip, in order to be rewarded, Berkeley needs to show you a good picture. So that's what I mean by hold the strong side accountable. At the lineouts, we had some setup issues this week. Just empower your ARs to help you. They are perfectly capable of making sure there's a hooker in the channel or looking to see if we all of a sudden have two receivers, that kind of thing. And then intentional knock-ons, yay, because we nailed it this week, you guys. Great work. So excited. Saw a yellow card when we needed one. I saw a penalty. It was great. Ooh. Good work. So proud. Okay, and then this is what week 9 looks like. So we've got Andrew. This is probably going to be a really good game, I would think, right? All Blues Beantown.
Yeah, baby. And we've got lines this week.
Yeah, oh my gosh, I sent an email about the lines too, just so you know. We'll see if that helps. Brian, Atlanta North Shore, both kind of at the bottom of the league, so you would assume they're fairly evenly matched. That could end up being a good game. Shanda, Colorado Surfers, that should be a great matchup. And then unfortunately, Haley Aguiar has got COVID and she will not be refereeing this week. So we've got a local referee, Jonathan Whitefield, stepping in, and he's going to do Orsu Amazons, which also they are bottom of the bracket, and that may well be a very good match. So, yep, cool. So that's WPL stuff for. I just thought we might have extra time today, so I thought you might be interested in seeing what we're up against at the finals. This is kind of what the schedule is going to look like. So 5 matches on Friday. 2 on Saturday. There's a U23 All-Stars going on, and then on Sunday 7 games. So we've got 7 referees traveling with us, so everyone's going to do 2 matches in the center most likely. So super excited about that.